Sup you guys, what is going on? And welcome back to another Rugby Player Reacts to Andrew Thomas video. Andrew Thomas was the 4th pick in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. And this video series is a little bit of a deep dive into each of my favourite picks, or the ones that stood out to me for whatever reason. And not only looking at their story, but also looking at their highlights. Now, Andrew Thomas is interesting in that I don't really remember him from the Combine, although he was the first tackle drafted. There were 2 other tackles that definitely stood out to me, and they're going to be coming further on in the series. But today we're going to focus on Andrew Thomas once again. We looked at a film study last. Before that we looked at a story. So today we're just going to get as much extra information on the guy as possible. And to start that, my friends, we've got an interview here halfway through February, the 2020 NFL Draft. Andrew Thomas shares experience playing in the SEC. So this interview was conducted at the Combine. Let's go.
Yeah. Go and play that. Take you down, I'ma say that. Mine need me a couple dollars. Telling you now this payback. So I take that. Ask them now what stage at. I've been going to the top and I got what they not, so I know that they hate that. But I'm on now.
Offensive lineman blocking for Jake Fromm. He's Andrew Thomas. Andrew, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Excited to be here.
Ooh, well that's the first line I've ever heard. He's onto it. He really is. You know, it's really interesting. You can tell... Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold my judgment.
What do you think of all this Combine experience so far? You've been in town a couple of days to take it in.
It's pretty crazy. I'm doing my best trying to take it all in. A lot coming at you, but I'm excited for it.
You got Jake Fromm's trying to rise up the draft board. Be his hype man. Tell me why he's the man and why he should be taken among the top quarterbacks.
He's a leader. As soon as he comes into the room, he's going to affect the team. He can make all the throws, and I think the best part of the game is just how smart he is. Like, he makes all the checks for us. If he sees pressure coming, he'll change it. So if you bring him on your team, I feel like he'll, make an immediate impact on your offense.
Isn't that funny? We've got a guy who went the 4th overall pick, trying to talk up his own quarterback, who he's trying to increase the draft stock of. And I think Jake Fromm ended up going in the 6th round. About 180 picks behind you, mate.
Give me your best story of a moment where he did something, said something, got you guys pointed in the right direction to perform the way you needed to in a big spot.
This is interesting information.
We were playing in the Rose Bowl my freshman year, and we had a 5-man protection pass play call. And
A 5-man protection in a pass play call. Okay. Andrew Thomas is playing right tackle because it's his freshman year.
Their line, Jake didn't like it, so he switched it to a inside zone play, which Sonny was in the backfield, and it hit for a touchdown.
Ooh, okay. Okay, didn't like what he saw in the backfield. Decided to audible to an inside zone for the running back, and it went for a touchdown. Yes, I realise I'm just repeating what he said, but I'm trying to get it through my head. So he audibled from a pass play to a run play, and that run play resulted in a touchdown. That's an audible and a half.
In the Rose Bowl.
In moments like
in the
that,
Rose Bowl,
they have an impact, right? That's when you believe in a guy and you think, all right, we're going to listen to this guy going forward, right?
Definitely, yeah.
You know what? You know what, guys? We're going to get the Rose Bowl. We're going to get that play on camera. All right, so we got the number 3 Georgia versus is that Andrew Thomas? That is Andrew Thomas. Oklahoma has the ball. Okay, that's a nice play, but it's the wrong team. Okay, is this the touchdown?
By Miles McKinney there.
Take it to Michelle again. Farm look over the middle. Now dumps it down. Caught. Touchdown. Michelle out of the backfield, and the Dogs answer quickly. Now dumps it down. Caught.
Or this one should look like we've got some daylight. Okay, let's have a look at this.
The Sooners offense and Baker Mayfield. Farm and Georgia back to work, and Sonny Michelle breaks free.
I think that might be it. Right, so he's called a pass play. Let's find Andrew Thomas. Big Andrew Thomas here on the right. We've got a tight end as well. Is that a 5-man pass protection? Do you exclude the center when you say that? So we've got the pass play called. Jake Fromm decides to audible, calls the snap, waits for the motion man to cross, and let's pause it again.
His offense and Baker Mayfield.
Okay, so we've got at least 3 defenders caught up with these 3 receivers. We've got another defender coming across to mark number 4. So what that means is that Jake Fromm can see the defense shifting to the right and thinks, you know what, we're going for an inside zone here.
From Georgia back to work, and Sonny Michel breaks free. Michel on the clear, a foot race. What an answer from Georgia.
That's a mean foot race, all right? I really enjoyed that. Let's see what Andrew Thomas did.
Davis, there's nobody left for the Sooners offense, and Baker Mayfield. From
Oh, well, the running back just went straight behind Andrew Thomas, didn't he? Of course he did. He just went 4th pick in the 2020 NFL draft.
Georgia back to work, and Sonny Michel.
Sonny Michel, I believe, plays for the Patriots. Anyways, moving on.
So, tell me a little bit more about yourself, Andrew Thomas, and specifically, I'm fascinated with a big guy like you, and we talked to a couple other guys. 6'5". When did you get that big spurt?
This is so interesting. In the previous video, I questioned, when did he reach 6'5"? Was it in high school? Was it his junior year? When did he reach 300 pounds? And we're about to hear.
Well, how old were you when you went from being, a little kid to all of a sudden, well, this guy's on his way to possibly playing either in the NBA or the NFL?
So I was about 5'11" in the 8th grade. I was looking my mom in the eye, I remember. And then at the end of my freshman year, I hit a huge growth spurt. I was like 250 at the time. I gained like 50 pounds and like 3-4 inches.
See, I was 5'11" in the 8th grade, but I didn't grow anymore.
Yeah.
Freshman year. So he went from 6 feet, 250 to 6'5", 315. It's quite a difference, isn't it?
I have not grown at all since I was 14 years old.
That's
so
tough.
You got lucky and you added 6 more inches, and here you are on your way. How hard is it for you to keep your weight on?
It's not that hard. Actually, during this process of training, I've been actually, coming down. I played a little heavier this year, so I've been cutting
What's your ideal number?
around 315, 320.
Who were you a fan of growing up? Player.
Player, probably Michael Vick. Yeah.
Grew up in Georgia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The guys in the NFL now, when you're out there for the first time.
I wouldn't be surprised after hearing that Andrew Thomas played quarterback in high school. I wouldn't be surprised.
On the field, ready to play. Who's going to be that guy that makes you say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm out here with him?
Probably be Tom Brady. If I played against him, that would be crazy.
Who was the guy that gave you the hardest time in college, the hardest guy for you to block?
I would say my freshman year, it was my first road game. I had to block Jeff Holland from Auburn. Yeah.
Why was it so tough for you?
It was just my first road game. I remember not being able to hear the plays, hear the snap counts, things like that. He was a great pass rusher, but we played him again in the SEC championship, and I fared pretty well against him.
What's the loudest stadium you?
Okay, that's really interesting. That's a point that you don't really consider in an away game. You're not only contending with the opposite team plus all of their patriotic fans, but you're also contending with the noise. And if you can't hear plays, what are you going to do? I've been in a crowd of 50,000 shouting for the team, but I've certainly never been on the field trying to talk to my teammate whilst, surrounded by this roar. It'll be quite the experience.
Experienced in college?
Either Auburn or Tennessee.
And what help people understand, because they hear it all the time, oh, it's so hard, but what makes it so difficult for you when you're in a place like that, and it's loud, and they're yelling curse words at you, and you're trying to focus on your job? What makes it difficult for you specifically?
It makes it very difficult as an offensive line, because, we have to communicate. All of us have to be on the same page, and so when Jake's trying to give us a play, and we can't hear it, it makes it, pretty difficult, especially if they stem or they show pressure late. It's hard to adjust to it really quickly.
What kinds of things did you guys do at Georgia to practice for those situations?
Well, what if they come out of the huddle, they're lined up, and then the quarterback wants to change something? That's not going to be easy, nor is it probably even going to be possible.
We'll go in the indoor, and Coach Smart will turn on the crowd noise. The highest it can go, it'll be pretty loud, and we'll practice, different periods, with the crowd noise real loud.
Okay, that's bloody interesting. It's something I've never heard before. In practice for college football, they have the ability to turn on crowd noise during training to simulate that. I'm learning a lot from this interview.
Does the highest it can go still make it as loud as what it's like when you're in that stadium?
So when we have it on, it's usually against the scout team. So it's not, it's as loud, but it's not as intense. But when you go to Auburn or you go to Tennessee, you're playing against their starters. It's loud, and the guys are very good.
You got an advantage playing in an SEC environment like that. It's not as big of a jump when you go to the NFL, and I'm sure you've talked to former teammates and guys that have played in the SEC, and it's got to give you more confidence going to the NFL that you're not making that huge leap if you had been at a smaller school in a smaller conference with not nearly as many people in the stadium.
Yeah, it definitely does. Playing in the SEC every week, it's a challenge. Obviously, it's not the NFL, but it's a good, stepping stone getting up to the next level.
Who's the guy that you're...
I want to check something. How many 2020 draft picks were in the Big Ten? Perfect. What have we got here? Here's a breakdown of where each of the 255 picks in the 2020 NFL Draft finished their college careers. 63 from the SEC, 48 from the Big Ten, 32 from Pac-12, 27 from ACC, 21 from Big 12, 17 from AAC, and the list goes on and on. Actually, one really interesting thing, 2 people from Division 2 and 1 from Division 3 got drafted. Who from Division 3 got drafted in 2020 draft? Batch brings end to Ben Barch brings end to Division 3 draft drought. Ben Barch, an offensive lineman for St. John's in Division 3 football, went the 116th overall pick in the 4th round. That's bloody awesome. We've got an offensive lineman back in 2015, we've got a cornerback back in 2012, and we've got a wide receiver back in 2011. From Mount Union, Albion, and Hobart, respectively. That's really cool.
You're looking forward to blocking.
I'll probably say like Von Miller or Khalil Mack.
This is the 2019 Jacobs Blocking Award winner for the Big Ten.
They're at the top of the game. In the NFL, they've been the best last couple of years, so I feel like that'll be a pretty good challenge for me.
There's been more of an emphasis recently put on run blocking,
Von Miller.
especially the way the 49ers do it. They turn it into an art form almost. For you, what do you prefer, pass blocking or run blocking?
I'd probably say run blocking. At Georgia, that was the main thing we did, run the ball at point of attack and make pass plays off of that.
Well, I know one guy in the number 26 jersey that'll be very happy to hear that.
That's when you get to go attack someone, drop it to the ground, right? Pass blocking, they're coming at you. Run blocking, you're going at them.
Right.
All right, well, you're going at the NFL, buddy, and we appreciate some of your time. We wish you all the best. Andrew Thomas, Georgia offensive lineman. We'll be back with Colts head coach Frank Reich here in Indianapolis. He didn't have to drive. He probably slept at home last.
I just heard another very interesting piece of information that I was trying to work out in my head in the previous video, and that is why sometimes the offensive tackle will initiate the contact and go towards the man, and sometimes the offensive tackle will take a first step backwards and try and protect the quarterback rather than making that initial contact. And I just got told exactly why, and it makes sense. Of course, on a run play, you're going to initiate the contact. You want to go downfield. You want to create space for your running back. On a pass play, all you want to do is make sure that quarterback doesn't get hit. So you're going to stay back in your pocket and react, I guess, more so than act. Does that make sense? Because it's slowly starting to make sense to me.
Last night. We'll talk to Frank Reich right after this. All right, buddy.
That was a great interview, guys. I really enjoyed that. There is only one final piece of this puzzle, the puzzle we call Andrew Thomas, that we have to look at before the end of this video. And that is hearing from the head coach of the New York Giants, which is someone I've never heard of, never seen, but has an interesting last name, Joe Judge, on why Andrew Thomas jumped out to me right away. The Giants draft
We're joined by the head coach
Andrew Thomas. And this will be the final video of the day.
of the New York Football Giants, Joe Judge. As the
We'll just get a little bit of a
selected last night, Andrew
idea.
Thomas, the outstanding tackle out of the University of Georgia. Coach, congratulations on the pick.
NYPD
talk
Blue.
About the process of studying him, as well as the other offensive linemen and the other players, and why he was the perfect fit for the Giants at 4.
I want to hear if he mentions Mekhi Becton or Tristan Wirfs.
Well, I think the first thing we did when we got here as a staff is we started identifying the team needs and some of the places we thought we had to fill to increase, the strength of our team. The offensive line is definitely a focal point. To be a good team, you have to have a great offensive line. That's a fact. We want to make it as strong as can be. There's a lot of talent this year in the offensive line, especially with the tackles this year in the draft. Really, I started with that position out of the gate.
Should have scored that.
Andrew's a guy who jumped out at me right away. Intrigued a lot of us in the building. We recognize the level of talent. He's got tremendous character, got tremendous upside. We did a lot of research on his background, and coaches who coach and work with him. And in this process, it was very important to rely on the context that we had because of the lack of pro days, lack of 30 visits to our facility. Luckily, we were exposed to him at the combine and got some FaceTime there. And then the rest.
Tell you what, guys, Barkley behind Thomas is going to be a beautiful thing.
Virtual meeting. So we were able to bridge some of the gaps and feel very good about the pick.
Coach, you often talk about having scheme versatility and having players that can compete at multiple in multiple areas of your football team. I happen to work for the same guy that you worked for, and one of the bedrock principles was flexibility in players, and players knowing how to do more than one thing, even if it's from left to right, right to left. And we know that this tackle has played left and right, but for the fans, can you explain why that's important in the course of a season or even in the course of a game?
Well, first off, it's important in the course of a career to be able to start off where it fits the team best and be able to have a chance to compete and get in early in your career and play. It's important within the course of a season because you never know how the roster develops throughout the season and what the team needs are. You may have someone on your team who's stronger on the left, and you have to complement that with someone who's possibly a swing tackle to play on the right.
That was good pace. Good speed. Oh!
In the left that she demonstrated in college, that shows it right there. He has versatility.
I like that one.
So it helps within different game plans. Look, we don't know what the future holds.
That play was from the game that we did the film breakdown. If you want to see that, definitely head back to the previous video.
Point, he may be playing on the left and we move him to right for a specific game plan. Maybe that's a matchup of a certain rusher, or to run a specific scheme that we want to go ahead and put in that week. So he's got versatility. I've kind of already heard something. He plays tackle. How much versatility? Well, there's a big difference right and left. So for him to be able to play both effectively, that's big for us.
Coach, obviously the physical aspect of it and what you're talking about, versatility to go from right to left and pretty much play any position. But people always say, what makes a great offensive lineman? Well, when it's tackle, it's footwork, it's hands, all that stuff physically. But mentally, take us inside the mind of Andrew Thomas. Obviously, to go from one side to the other, mentally you've got to have it there. But what is he bringing to
He seems mature, he seemed level-headed, very sound. I enjoyed his interview. I thought he sounded definitely intelligent, different to that of Chase Young. We looked at one of Chase Young's interview and it's just different. It's probably just as quietly confident, just different.
Giants, and what did you learn about him, obviously with your relationships down in Georgia, about him inside the O-line room, his study habits, and his football intelligence?
Well, from day one at Georgia, Kirby told me he came in was a true, workhorse for them, went to work, put his head down, learn the offense, whatever he was asked to do, he worked to master it. That's important to me right there. For an offensive lineman, the mental game is such a big part of it. Sean, as you know, the game's truly won in situational football. When we say that, we mean third down, red area, 2 minute. And this is when you get the greatest variety of looks and when defenses really start to spin the dial on you. You can spend all week practicing for base looks on first and second down. It's really third down when the unexpecteds come up. To put someone on your edge as a tackle, you really trust them to make the right decisions, to secure the edge for the quarterback, in the run game, to really recognize differences and move forward. The tackle is so much further away from the center that a lot of the communication that works inside out, they may not always be able to hear that in a loud stadium. So they have to rely on their ability to diagnose and go ahead and react accordingly to what they know the center inside would be given them to call for.
How much of that were you able to talk to him?
Oh, I love that play, man, when everything just shifts to the left or right and it's up to the running back to be patient enough and choose the right moment. Now let's see what happened there.
Communication that works inside out. They may not always be able to hear that in a loud stadium, so they have to rely on their...
And go! Everyone's going to the right. Okay? Running back's got the ball. Let's go, let's go. When am I going to go? Now! And it wasn't a sharp 90-degree cut, but he did what he had to. And did he make it?
They know the center inside would be
yeah, he did.
Call for.
How much of that were you able to talk to him about on Zoom applications? Were you able to kind of do some washboard segments with him and have him draw up some stuff?
We've had a tremendous opportunity to really increase how we work within the Zoom. Our offensive line coach, Mark Colombo's done a phenomenal job, him and Ben Wilkerson, of interviewing these guys through Zoom and really just take them.
You know what? You know what? Cheers, Joey. That's about enough. And that is about enough of Andrew Thomas for today. Because, my friends, we've got plenty more players to go. And the first one off the block is Tua Tagovailoa, followed by Isaiah Simmons, CJ Henderson, Mekhi Becton, Tristan Wirfs, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers, and Jonathan Taylor. I really hope you've enjoyed these videos so far. I hope you're looking forward to the upcoming NFL season just as much as I am. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.